The rebellion of the woman. It is said that all the troubles that assail the human race originate basically on the love mat. Truly, if men spent less time on the business of procreation, the world would be a much more peaceful place. A man wakes up in the morning, foul-tempered because his wife has denied herself to him. He starts a fight with a neighbor over a trifling matter, and in no time their friends take sides and a faction fight develops. Thus started the episode contained in this legend. The wise ones of the tribes say that there is no greater disaster on earth than the running dry of the beer pot while the drunkard's throat is still thirsty, thereby implying that it is a disaster for a man to become impotent while his wives are still aflame with passion. This is just what the fool Kwabalanda allowed to happen to himself. He suddenly became as impotent as a roasted bushman, much to the annoyance of his wife and to the undoing of the Zulus. One beautiful night, when the full face of the moon exerted its power to turn even the ugliest slut in the tribe into a panting goddess, I, Lumukanda, was alone in my hut, safe from molestation by my wives. But Zulu was not safe. He was besieged at his royal place of sleeping by 4 of his wives, and was having a hard time at it. None of the Zulu indunas was safe, and none of the thousands of Zulu husbands was at peace. And the spirit of trouble clung like a dark bat to the roof of the hut where Kwabalanda and his wife Nomalanda were sleeping. What was happening there was about to change the history of the whole tribe.
Oh, my husband, please wake up. Please do not let the bean that shrivels under the cruel sun beg for the rain on its knees,
begged Nomalanda.
Huh? What? Husband, please wake up. I see a tiny flame which only you can put out.
Throw water on it before the hut catches fire, mumbled Kwabalanda, turning over and snoring atrociously.
Husband, it is rude for a man to ignore his wife on the love mat.
How? Let me sleep, you stupid woman. Leave me alone, you slut. For a person to call his or her partner such insulting epithets while on the love mat is a crime punishable under tribal law by death.
Oh, my darling, how can you insult me so?
On the roof of the hut, the spirit of trouble winked at the moon, and the flame of passion burned like a comet through the valleys of Nomalanda's soul. Her head whirled, reason flew into the night like a bird released from captivity. She swarmed all over her husband and clung to him like a wide-eyed, frightened child. Then there was the sound of a slap and a shrill cry of amazement. Kwabalanda had done the rudest thing that can ever be done on a love mat. Nomalanda's passion gave way to a raging, frustrated anger. The brawling which developed was rudely interrupted by a savage voice from without. It was a voice full of authority, self-importance, and menace.
What is going on in here? Open the door immediately, in the name of the laws of the tribe.
The fight stopped like a midwinter rain shower, and both combatants turned frightened glances at each other. Kwabalanda and his wife were always falling foul of the tribal avengers, and this time things looked rather bleak for them. They were now guilty of 3 offenses. He had insulted her, and they had fought on the love mat, and they had made an unholy noise after midnight.
Open the door.
Oh, open the door, husband,
whispered Nomalanda tremulously. No, snarled Kwabalanda, his face shining with the sweat of fear. You started it. You opened the door.
But you caused me to start it.
I shall count up to 3,
roared the menacing voice.
And if the door is not open, I shall burn the heart down.
Please, wife. Your brain is faster than mine. Think of something.
1.
At a price, husband, at a price. I shall save both of us on condition that you give me that for which I thirst.
2.
Yes, wife, yes, I will. Now please hurry.
Quickly, Nomalanda took ashes from the fireplace and made the symbol of light on her husband's forehead and went hastily to open the door. She was sent sprawling as 2 burly tribal avengers crawled in through the low entrance. The first one took one look at the black eye Kwabalanda was now wearing and nodded his masked head gravely. His voice was low and harsh with self-righteousness as he said to his colleague, "These 2 were fighting, O 10th Avenger."
I can see that. 6th Avenger. Fighting on the love mat after the sacred hour of midnight. You know what the law says about a thing like this. Before we kill you, we would like to know what you were fighting about.
Honorable Avengers, we were not fighting. We were not fighting at all,
replied Nomalanda with a frightened tremor in her voice.
What?
Bellowed the 10th Avenger.
Your man has an eye that is swollen shut, and your nose is bleeding. Yet you say you were not fighting?
Great One, my husband must have a secret enemy who is desirous of doing him evil, who is casting an evil spell on him, sending him nightmares to haunt him in his sleep. For 2 days now he has awakened suddenly and has started to fight the empty air, and I have had to subdue him by force. You can see the sign of light which I put on his forehead to quieten him down.
How can we be sure that this is not just an excuse to save your miserable lives?
Great One, do you think that I, the daughter of Mapepelweni, would sink so low as to abuse the symbol of the sun in this way?
No, I do not think so, having once known your father. But tell me, if you were subduing your husband, why are your eyes dancing with fright when you speak to me?
Great One, You should understand.
And why?
Cut in the Avenger brutally.
If you have no fear and nothing to hide.
Now that you mention it, 10th Avenger, interrupted the 6th. The man does look a bit green about the gills. I am sure these two were fighting. Otherwise, they would not look so scared. Secretly, Nomalanda pinched Qwabalanda, whose expression of fright slowly dissolved to be replaced by a toothy grin as wide as it was forced. It took the sweating man quite an effort to manufacture, let alone sustain.
And what are you finding so amusing? Asked the 6th Avenger suspiciously.
Was all that Qwabalanda could reply, for terror had gripped his wits.
My husband wants to tell you, O great Avengers, that you must understand our fright. For who would not be frightened when he discovers that he has attracted the attention of ones as great as you? Is that not what you want to say, darling?
Tittered Qwabalanda, his eye black in the light of the fire.
I shall explain his incapacity to answer for himself, said Nomalanda quickly. You see, when the nightmare leaves him, he acts just like an idiot for some time on awakening, but he recovers after a time.
This is very bad,
said the Avenger.
Whoever is casting a spell on your man wants him to die mad. I command you to go and see the wizard Lumukanda early in the morning and ask him to cure your man. He is one of the best war leaders of the Zulu Impis. It would cast a bad reflection on his name if he should die a raving loinskin-wetting lunatic.
Yes, honorable one. Your words germinate like living seed in the fertile soil of my mind.
And see that the son of unwisdom and the winds of folly do not harm the green shoots, O woman. We go now, and may peace remain with you. May peace go with you too, O enforcers of the law. The woman responded, and her words were one long drawn-out sigh. After the Avengers had gone, Qwabalanda cried with relief as his wife closed and fastened the door. He removed his wet loinskin and sought sleep. But even before he could find a comfortable position, his wife was at him, demanding that he keep his promise. Seeing no other way out, Qwabalanda was driven to a confession. With his sullen eye throbbing and his face hot with shame, he haltingly told her that the river of his manhood had run dry. Nomalanda was aghast. She was scandalized. This was unheard of. This was the absolute limit. Imagine that clumsy lout deciding to run dry while she was still in the full flower of a woman's life. I think you did it on purpose, Qwabalanda. I have known all along that you did not care much for me. But, dear wife, how could I do it on purpose? It is not my fault. The gods have stopped my river of manhood. It can happen to any man.
You lie, she hissed. It does not happen to any man. No man ever becomes impotent unless he sleeps with a witch of the forest.
But I have slept with nobody but you.
Oh, then you insinuate that it is I who made you run dry, that I am the witch of the forest.
But it is your fault, darling. You have been coming to me far too often.
Oh, my sacred Father, the things that we poor downtrodden women have to put up with. Yo, if only I could do something to improve the lot of women in this world.
Lo, the spirit of trouble flapped its bat-like wings with great happiness as the spark of an idea leapt into fire in the brain of the frustrated Nomalanda. The spirit of trouble grinned toothily as this angry woman decided impulsively to do something to improve the lot of women on this earth.